Is everyone happy after some technical difficulties?
Speaking of technical difficulties, the controller's not working again.
Mortal gore.
Yeah. Mortal Gore Sorely. Or whatever. I don't know. I didn't think that through.
Metal
Howdy,
Gear
folks.
Salad.
Metal Gear Salad. God, that sounds like a promotional item they would actually do.
It just has metal in it. It's just like a salad that has, like metal shavings in it, like Wendy's.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly somebody up there heard that we were doing a punishing playthrough of all Metal Gear games because they announced that Metal Gear Solid will have a remastered edition that should be on PC.
It's amazing that people decided to make yet another one of those pachinko games.
I am so far behind the times that I am actually early on this one, and it feels weird.
It's really bizarre. But I guess eventually, if you stay true, memes don't become dreams.
Yeah. And you gotta live Moss. If there's anything I learned from Kaz Miller, you gotta live Moss.
You gotta live Moss. I mean, think about our poor boys and girls who've died, getting that Baja Blast on Valaka, They live Moss, so you don't have to. Actually, they don't live Moss. They die every 8 seconds. But those Starship Troopers got to get that Baja Blast, and freedom isn't free. It's
Not
a
for
hefty
folks
fucking
like
fee.
you and me.
Got to put in your bucko 5. Got to make it work.
I still... Like, that stump would be fucking destroyed. There's no way that they got a good IV on the end of that thing.
Don't you worry about it. Like, Kojima lives in a fantasy land where in a random Cypriot hospital, someone has all of the knowledge required.
Well, it was a British military hospital, right?
In Cyprus, because there's some British military missions there. So, I mean, regardless, it's a hospital on the ass end of the world that people forgot about. And there's some guy...
Kojima says we gotta accept the rewards. We can't do anything else.
Oh, we gotta accept those rewards, right.
Oh, good lord. Did I really do all these dispatch missions?
Don't you worry about it. I'm sure you did some of them. I'm sure this game isn't just popping things up to make you interact with it. Now,
we got D-class volunteers to feed to the machine.
Well, it's what they do. I always pretend that whenever I saw their random names, I always presumed that, they were like boxers and that was their boxing name. So, you look through it and it starts to make more sense. It's like these aren't soldiers. These are their trunk titles for boxing, right? They're like, "Oh yes, I'm Stone Bull Elephant." And I'm like, "This corner, Stone Bull Elephant," and you just go from there. So what are we gonna do with all of these people that you've got? Are you going to make them work for you, or are you going to make them just fall down in foreign places and charge people for it?
Where the fuck is this DMZ?
Restore the DMZ.
Where it's centered over like Malta.
Malta, the Maltese Riviera, a hotbed of discontent in the far future
Yeah, no,
of the 80s. I don't know. I mean,
these guys off to go die in some foreign combat zone because
yeah, we gotta send those guys to put down the Corsican insurgency, right?
yeah. Choreographed dance crew, stone rhino, stone artillery target, restore the Maltese DMZ in 14 minutes.
Yeah. It's all right.
Auto
So,
deploy a truck for me.
well, I mean, that's your truck. Hello, Mr. Train. Thank you so much. Now, here's my question. I understand how, a truck and a guy might get infiltrated into a war zone. I understand that, but how in the fuck are you gonna get a Lippens on her pony airdropped in? How is that gonna happen?
That's a good question.
Horses, as you know, are probably one of the least panicky animals, and in no way, likely to bite or a kick or just absolutely go ham for no reason. No history of that. No history of just suddenly galloping at their own farts or, kicking the teeth or face off of people. It's just something. Yeah, nah. The horses are calm, cool as cucumbers, as calm as a raging horse. They say that is a turn of phrase. As calm as an airdropped horse.
Yeah. Zero
yes.
is well known for their airdrop light dragoon infantry.
Yeah, God, it's like snakes at Kiroseer. By doctrine, at least. Yeah. Just parachute.
With the unit logo on its flank of our super secret organization.
Yeah, we gotta kill that Corsican upstart. We can't have another Napoleon. Oh my God. So, I hate to say this, but he's got a big old lump of metal, in his head, which probably, and I'm just guessing, is imparting significant, if not tremendous, pressure on his brain.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure those of you out there who
Snake don't brain good no more.
Well, yeah, I mean, arguably, any inaccuracy as to the portrayal of Afghanistan is as a result of the shrapnel-induced clinical issues.
He got hired for like a normal, average thing in Afghanistan, and this is just his recollection of it.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I've heard, of course, as sterile as shrapnel before, many times. As sterile as shrapnel, because as you know, the bomb makers and explosive guys of the world just wipe everything down with like little alcohol wipes and make sure that everything's cool and clean and neat before they go off. And I think that's very thoughtful. Just as realistic as airdropped horses.
One-eyed, one-horned, horsey riding super soldier.
I hate that makes sense to my brain as much as anything else Kojima has intentionally created.
Look at that tire. There's not even any
man. Cord showing? Nothing.
No cord showing, no cracking from age. Like, these are good tires. We should salvage these.
Someone threw good tires away. I mean, that's a tragedy. I mean, burnout T72, T62, whatever. No problem. Those are everywhere.
It's NBV. No.
NBV.
What's the Bino button again?
Is it
Hold on.
V for binoculars?
This is Smith. Yep, that was a Butterthumbs moment. I was trying to call Justin and called you instead. I thought I caught it before it went through, but evidently not. No worries. Not to my knowledge. Okay. Mm-hmm. Nice. I'm a dumbass and I muted the wrong audio stream. Womp womp. Yeah, no, call from an officer at a different agency. Alright, we should be back now. Mr. Tex?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, yep, no. I'd muted the wrong audio screen in OBS, so I appreciate you
No,
picking me, but it didn't do anything.
nah, I did my part. And it's okay. It's Afghanistan. And knowing this is a Kojima game, that's the least distracting thing we're going to see today. No, when it comes down to Kojima nonsense, I welcome anything, anything that is welcome. I mean, it's just when you look at this place and you look at it, you go, wow, what a nice bit of scenery. I want to crawl all around this plastic green army man world. I want to crawl all around. I want to get in those trenches. I want to climb on the stuff. I want to pick through that tank. But then you realize as you get closer, you're going to run into somebody who can cloak themselves or, is like running around naked. And that's their superpower because it's Kojima. So you see this wonderful bit of scenery. It's like a nice little painting. And then as you start to interact with it, you realize that you're crawling deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole and warden of just crazy, just absolute crazy. Because at any moment, a supervillain is going to crawl out of the woodwork, have 4 or 8 monologues and 45 minutes of unskippable cutscene, and then you're going to have to kung fu them. You're going to have to kung fu them because all of the guns you've collected will not work.
Did I forget to bring the binoculars?
You don't need binoculars, and I think it's F for finoculars.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gotta save
Remember?
that culture now. Yeah, I
F
forgot.
for F for far. You have to F.
I thought it was C
F to
for
C.
binoculars.
Canoculars. C for canoculars. All right.
Analysis complete. Analysis.
Oh look, they're all just standing around doing their thing.
Yeah.
The map has
There's a truck I'm gonna have to kill.
analysis complete.
Yeah.
There's a gun
mean-
with which to kill the truck.
Ah, yes, ZPU-ish thing.
Because everybody knows that BMP is just a truck putting on airs.
Well, let's yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But so we're sitting. Oh, yeah. There's that vulture. Is it canocular or cantocular?
It depends on the day, man. It's trying its fucking best.
Yeah, that's fair. So here's the question: is like, why are these tanks knocked out, and who did that? Was there like a curse here? Because like, there's a tank 30, 40 meters behind you, and there's a tank 20, 30 meters in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just, yeah, the famous North American turkey vulture, famously indigenous to Afghanistan.
Yeah, you didn't know that, man?
I didn't.
They're
I
all
didn't.
over the place.
I just.
That's why they're
I
called
didn't
North
know.
American.
Well, yeah, it didn't say which North America. Oh.
Well, now he's one
Yeah.
too.
Oh God, I wish you could interrupt the Kojima scenes like in Mass Effect as well. I
They
really
just
do.
drove off. Those sons of bitches.
What? They used their gasoline to leave?
I don't
That's
know if they
cheating.
use their gasoline. Their gas is kind of low octane.
Yeah, it's like what, 75, 78? It's
Gas
low.
will run as low as 76,
76.
according to the manual. Evidently,
Good year.
They got
Good
it.
year for disco. Not
Yeah.
a good year for gasoline.
According to the manual, down to 76 octane, but listening to contemporary Russian reports, they were watering it down with various substances when they ran short in Afghanistan, and they got them lower than that.
Oh, that's always good to know. Grubfist says those buildings look like they have a safety factor of 7.
I will say, any gas that is too far gone for my lawnmower will run in the gas, so I'm not worried.
That tank found the only 4 tank traps in a mile and a half and died there. That's rough. That's a rough end to Mr. Tank.
Hey, you know, World War II was hard on the Czech economy. They can't make as many hedgehogs these days.
Yeah, ever since that Sonic guy moved in. So you got hedgehogs for temporary obstruction, and then you got dragon's teeth for you will never move these ever. You're just gonna have to assume they live there now.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's still dragon's teeth on the west wall.
Yeah, they were just like, nature will reclaim it. No, it won't. It will not. It's still killing tractors like 50, 60, 70 years on. People still run into them, and they're still there. And people are like, you should do something about this. It's there forever. It's there forever. It's just gonna be part of it.
I had a very interesting perspective shift a couple weeks back.
Oh.
I was talking with
alright.
a Belgian policeman, and he was talking about the iron harvest every year.
I thought you were gonna say that you were talking about talking with a Belgian policeman, and he was gonna say like, "Thank God this 1010 character seems to be having things in hand because this is boring as shit."
No, yeah.
Please tell me you
was-
brought up 1010, please.
I did not. I did not bring up.
What about
anything.
Poirot? Did you bring up Poirot?
I did not.
You didn't bring up Hercule Poirot? Oh, come on.
I know. Failure and disappointment.
I know. Why?
No, you better come check this.
Just watch this guy. Literally just watch this guy. Just watch these guys keep rolling. Watch these guys keep doing their thing. And one of them sees you on that gun, and you will never see someone so hard pretend that you know, that guy. I mean, good lord, if you saw someone on a ZPU cranking it around on you, I'd be like, oh man, I need to tie my shoes.
Exactly.
Oh man, I need to pay attention to anything but that right fucking now. You know, I'd just be like, too rich for my blood.
And that seems really hard. I hope you guys have luck with that.
Also, what's the convergence on these guns? Is it set for like 50 miles away?
Yeah, apparently. It's here. We'll aim for the center of the window.
Yeah, I need to tie my boots behind this rock. I agree. I think that you would find a really, really good time to not do shit. I think you would just absolutely have a moment of no thank you.
What I find amazing at this is an anti-aircraft mount. And it's got
Yeah.
this shitty a traverse.
Well, anti-aircraft mount terms and conditions may apply.
Because, like, we put an anti-aircraft, anti-ground dual-purpose gun on the M114, and it spun so fast it decapitated drivers. That's the way you gotta do things.
You know, it's really about sending a message, right?
Yeah.
And that message is safety's for losers. It's factor of 7, right? It's not important so much as it is
No.
memorable.
Who was shooting at me from over here?
Who's shooting at who? I don't see anything other than your film getting eaten up. I love that Kojima did that as like film, you know, being eaten.
Oh, they got reinforcements.
Well, they got chunky salsa now.
Yeah. Sympathetic detonation of 23 mil.
Yeah, a little rarer than you'd think. A little rarer than you think, but I mean, hey, you came in here for a vulture and you left as vulture food. So I think that win-win.
Yeah, see that was my real
yeah.
that was my real failings. I should have gone for the vulture first. Yeah, my mission, rescue a prisoner, yada yada yada. It's,
Well, it says that there's a rescue now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Please
Why? Like, what is the point, right?
Well, we'll
Of
see.
the rest. Okay, because I'm just wondering, like, oh,
we're
there's a
we're
rescue.
supposed to get that guy out of that truck.
Okay, how do we know that guy's the guy?
Like, because he's been black bagged, I guess.
commence shortly.
So we just got a discussion where they were like, hey, this guy's in a truck. Well, how do
Oh.
you know? Oh,
I did not expect
What?
the fire support to be fucking stop lamb guided GBU accurate. Jesus fuck.
you know, I'm just saying, it's yeah. Look, results may vary. Yeah. Results,
I expected like some 60mm mortar to harass the area.
yeah, no, and maybe a little bit of bounding fire, some sporadic rockets, you know,
Yeah,
BL-40s.
I've never used the bombardment before. I was not expecting that.
Just as you know, in inventory, precision grad strike or something. I mean,
Yeah, that it literally like dropped on his fucking head.
yeah, it's like a BM-21 with all the accuracy that Wargame Red Dragon says it has, because usually those things tend to land with a CEP the size of a moon.
Yeah, like
It's like-
the area of effect of BM-21 rocket barrage should be the size of the map.
Yeah, it should say like, oh yeah, it should be like, yeah, it's gonna hit all edges of the map. It's gonna hit all of it at once. All at once, all in one go, blap, 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 handled, right?
Yeah, the BM-21s should be an off-map call-in.
I think all artillery in Wargame Red Dragon should be a call-in.
Yeah,
I think
let us
that
have
the same-
mortars, but
Yeah.
anything bigger than 80mm needs to be a call-in.
I agree.
Okay.
I think that would be really good for Wargame Red Dragon. And Warno is just you have artillery that you buy and it's on standby. Shoot face. Shoot face. As we know, shooting people while driving in vehicles
What the
makes
fuck
them.
was that?
Wow! 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 I think you got a new one for the intro. I did not know that. I did not know the Soviets trained Afghan drift. Holy shit! That's amazing.
That was impressive. Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Eight-wheel drifting, brother.
Jesus Christ.
All right, everybody, you tuned in for us, and now you got Afghan drift. We're discovering new fun things.
See, it's more cruel if I don't actually kill them. I just let them bake in the Afghan sun.
Extraction arrived.
Well, you're feeding the vultures, which you've come to protect somehow. You know? I think you could clip that scene out and
Oh yeah,
put
that,
in...
that scene's going in the intro.
Well, you should clip that scene out and just put initial D over
I'm,
it, you
I'm
know?
hanging on the wrong side. How do I
Don't worry
undo
about
this?
No, you're fine. It makes the horse happy. It makes it happy.
Please go faster. Gas, gas, gas. Step on the gas. Maybe I should have gotten a truck instead.
No, we wanna
This horse seems
definitely
like a pain in the ass.
we definitely want a Lone Ranger this shit. Done. Ba-da-dum. Ba-da-dum ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum 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 ba-da-dum.
Alright, come on.
Uh-oh. It's
Got
not a
a Red
Skyrim
Dead.
horse. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
not a
gotta Red
Skyrim
Dead up the
horse.
fucking mountain.
I stopped playing Red Dead 2. Oh, cool.
When
Lavinian
you stop being
762.
able to mulligan people.
Yeah. Lavinian 762 donated $6.9. Nice. Thank you
Fucking
very
awesome,
much.
man.
Thank you. Now, if you want to see stupid, and I bet a lot of you do, in Red Dead 2, I
It's the only
learned
reason they
my
watch us.
my favorite in Red Dead 2, my absolute hands down favorite, was that time, and I think you were there to see it, where I ran up to that guy who was sleeping, and I screamed in his face. I yelled in his face, "This is a robbery," which woke him up, and he jumped up and then stood there screaming at me for a minute and slowly started pulling his gun, and then I shot him in the mouth. And that was pretty much my peak Red Dead
Select
moment.
strike point. Strike requested.
I mean, yeah, no, it was, you playing Red Dead was an experience.
We have a fix on the target's location. We just have to figure out how to get
Grubfist has already got the 8-wheel drift.
and plan carefully.
Excellent, thank you.
The 8-wheel drift.
Yeah,
What-
if you
what
see
are-
something that deserves to go on to the opening credits,
Yeah, please
it.
grab it for us.
because that's how we're
yeah.
able to find those and put those in. You guys
we can
clipped
just keep-
everything that was in there.
We could clip even more and more and more and more as we go along and explore the deep vault of Kojima. And since they're doing a remaster, I guess, well, Metal Gear Madness Mondays has to continue.
Strike requested.
I'm just gonna keep hitting them with the fucking Grod rocket from hell.
The map has been updated.
I don't want to go in there and clear their fucking fortress. Fuck that.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Strike will commence shortly.
I'm wondering why the, there's no counter battery or anything. Oh,
Oh, hey, I got some sympathetics on that one.
Hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now.
prisoner died, heroism, -30.
Select a strike point. Strike requested.
I mean, I've got
How much?
fucking shit tons of money. Might as well, right?
Please
Might as well,
select a
you know?
strike point.
It's might as well.
Requested.
We'll just, hit them with the old 1-2. Keep them busy.
Prisoner established.
Keep them busy. Just have it like a Rolodex of gun stuff, where it's just, you're just sitting there like, smoke, smoke, white phosphorus, smoke, smoke, white phosphorus, HE, HE, cluster, smoke, white phosphorus, smoke. And they're like, what is going on? And you're like, I'm using my stockpile. I don't label anything.
Yeah.
I remember Red Dead was just hilarious to me, Red Dead 2, because you would go into your little camp and you'd give them like $500-600 that you just scrounge together. You know, just no
good
fucking
Lord.
money. No fucking money. And you know that happens. Don't worry about helicopter crashes. It costs less than artillery to bring one back. So even though that's a one-off prototype, but God, you'll be sitting there dealing with stuff in Red Dead. You go through hell, and you bring them $500,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Thank you. This will change our fortunes." And then like a week later, he's like, "I have a nice new tent." And you're like, "I see why we're broke."
My favorite was always you look at that thing and it's like, Arthur donated $800 worth of gold. Charles brought in a single fish.
It's
And you're sitting
really
there going,
yeah.
you know, we're doing scores on these banks for like $200-300. Which one of us is I guess he can't see because of the smoke. Pity.
Smonk make him scare.
How do I detonate it? Fuck. I
don't know.
forgot.
It's probably one of those buttons. Probably one of those weird.
Yeah, Uncle
weird buttons
donated
like-
one feather, 15 cents.
Exactly. Oh God! Every time you walk up to the characters, they're really well voice acted. They're really well animated. They're very, very interesting characters to interact with. But it doesn't change the game mechanics. So you'll sit there and save their ass 100 fucking times. 100 fucking times, and then they'll be like, you know what? We don't have enough money.
I wonder who is telling the truth. Arthur, who's brought in enough money for all of us to retire in the last month. Or Micah, the sleazy asshole.
Yeah, it felt like someone sprinkled a bunch of random but really well written characters from different movies into a game that isn't fun.
Yeah, the gang is
'Cause-
a bunch of really well-made GTA NPCs.
I don't disagree with that. I felt like a lot of the characters were just utterly boring. I think that a lot of the characters are just absolutely insanely, utterly boring. And okay, you know, there's a big divide in that game between the characters that have really, really well thought out stories and stuff, and then stuff they obviously added later.
Yeah.
So you'll have characters that are really compelling, they have really good voice acting, they have really good animations, they have stuff to do, they add to the story, and then there's people who just kind of pop out like a jack-in-the-box, right? They just, boom, bust open, and they're like, you gotta do this. And you go do that, and you find out it's not fun. Whatever they have you do, just, no. What is this teaching me? What does this add
Yeah.
to my game experience? And a lot of it's just,
Yeah. And that's just one element that kind of broke the story down. The story was really well done. It was moving, you know,
Analysis.
one of the better video game endings
Analysis.
that I've seen from a AAA game. Certainly in the last couple of generations. But man, you start to actually look at the logic of some of it and it breaks down. They made it too easy to get money.
yes. Well, that and God,
The prices are all over the place because they made it too easy to get money.
they made the guns hilarious. They made the guns like 1950s prices, which is bonkers. They also made it to where, again, I think that they made the game too money centric because they wanted to have an online component. Whereas, you know,
Absolutely.
in the real Wild West, you would have had people doing a lot of barter. Like, I cannot give you money for your job, but I can give you a saddle. I could give you some tack for your horse. I could offer you services for your services to me.
Yeah, I can
That-
rebuild your pistol because I'm a trained gunsmith.
Or even better yet, you could have someone who's like, hey, if you do 3 jobs for me, I'll help you knock this bank over. Like, you know, you build trust with each other to do stuff instead of, we're all in this from the beginning because we're a bunch of idiots. And I'm like, you know, why?
Yeah. They made it about the hustle. And that's everything that you do in the game is about trying to get the gang money.
And I like the idea of, well, I like the idea of getting the gang out of trouble, but the issue is it's kind of like where a lot of TV shows fail. They will say that there is this pressing issue that's always chasing the players and or the characters or the main protagonist or the deuteragonist or whichever they have as the point of view. Hero, anti-hero, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You will find something that pursues the players and dogs them relentlessly dogs them. And it will be something like, I don't know, think about FTL, that game FTL. What did the game FTL teach you? Is that you have to constantly jump away from trouble, right?
Yeah.
You have to constantly just jump away from trouble. And that is a thing. In many stories, they will say, and the bad guy is always out there waiting, and the bad guy is always out there waiting to kill you. The bad guy is always sitting there waiting to blow you away or chase the party down or whatever the story is. But the issue is that if you constantly have it dog people, I mean, imagine the movie Jaws. If the shark was in every scene. Like, imagine the movie Jaws where, like, as soon as they hear about the shark, you see Chief Brody, like, get in his car, and as he closes the door, the shark's behind him.
Yeah. Brody's in his blazer and the shark's in a Bronco behind him.
Yeah, just the shark is, you see the shark, like, lighting a cigarette as it tails it behind him and, like, puts the car into gear in, like, his Plymouth Reliant or whatever, and the shark's just slowly following him around town.
Yeah, the online servers, the economy just completely falls apart. But, yeah, the Jaws version of Where's Waldo. You're looking at the entire crowd on the beach, like, there was a shark attack and there's a shark there wearing Ray-Bans.
Yeah, like the shark is sitting there, like having called the attack in, and is like smugly chortling to itself, like,
Yeah.
like, oh man, like the only the issue is writing a bad guy. You need a bad guy that is compelling for reasons that are immediately understood but not discussed. A shark is scary because the great white attacking some small New England town is scary. It's out of nowhere, and it's also like a nod to Melville.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me. But if you run into something that's bonkers and has lost all of its sense, you go, why? And so a lot of games have that same issue where they'll have a bad guy that is just following you around or chasing you or constantly present. And in Red Dead 2, it's that someone is using all the money for not what they're supposed to. And I think one intervention would have solved that. And knowing the Wild West, as I do, in terms of its history, they would have been like, hey, I just gave you $800. What happened? And the guy's like, one more job. And they blow his brains out. And just
Like, all right, I'm the new leader. We're gonna run this like James Younger now.
I had thought about doing a short Text Talks history just while we're doing our deeper research, which you're helping me on. And I'd thought about a short Text Talks history, and I have a really good subject for it. And I'll tell the story here because it might make some people laugh. If people would like to hear a short retelling of it, because it is a story from the Wild West, and it's dumber than anything. It is so dumb. Because I have a book that is the history of law enforcement and the railroad and the era of railroad robbery. And so there's this story of these guys who stop a train, and they get on the train and they walk up, with their spurs and everything on, and they're just ching, 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 walking up and acting all tough and pointing guns in people's faces, but they have an agenda, right? They're like, we're going to get to that mail car. We're going to get to the secure car and get the booty. We're going to get in there and get the big cash. We're going to just grab it all. Because they heard that Bouillon was on the train, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, boys and girls, for those of you who don't know, that's bars and ingots of gold.
Clouds approaching.
It's specie. It's really, really heavy stuff. But it is like a movie in terms of that payoff. Just big old gold bricks, like enough to build a house out of. So they end up, it's bullion, not bouillon. Greg, I'm an American. Shut it. Let me tell my story. I don't come over there and tell you how to yell at our cheese. Come on. Let me, no. Of course the Frenchman has to be like, no, it's soup. I know, I'm messing with you. Anyways, so here we go.
Has died.
They in there, and they start looking around, and they point a gun. They point a gun in the mail carrier's face, right? They point a gun in his face, and they're like, we heard that Bouillon was on the train, Now give it to us. The guy goes, okay. And he starts walking over to the crates. And he starts pulling back the cover on it, right?
Yep.
And he goes, hey, stop right there. And they stop him at gunpoint. And he's like, oh, God, they're going to kill me, right? And they go, no. Bullion means coins. And the guy goes, oh, you want the coins? It goes and gets the petty cash and hands it to them, which is all loose change for the mail service. And so they walk off with a sack of coins, and they get caught because the bag ripped open. They left millions in gold bars. Millions. Just like, no, I know what I want. I want them coins.
Hey,
So
man,
imagine-
sometimes you just gotta have them coins.
Imagine breaking into Fort Knox and stealing the, change for cancer charity on the front desk. And then leaving and saying, I robbed Fort Knox, right? It's one of those things. Greg, I know it's heavy, but if you're robbing a train, don't take pocket change.
Yeah.
You're not going to steal all of the gold, obviously. But if you took a bar each and put it in your saddlebags, you'd be okay. You'd be okay. You'd be more than okay. But, it's one of those things of you have a compressed form of money that can be taken anywhere, or you have small coins. You could probably have shaved one of those bricks with an apple peeler and had more money than that bag of coins. I love little weird stories like that from the Wild West where people are like, I'm going to do a train robbery. And then they underestimate their competency. Or overestimate it. Or estimate it just right and then the Pinkertons show up. It's
Yes.
one of the three things happens.
We'll just have to do it by chopper.
One of the three things happens. But I do love the madness, the absolute bat shit madness of reading stuff from the Wild West, because you will realize that when someone robs a train, especially back then, a lot of these guys would rob these trains just out in the middle of nowhere. Just out in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, aha, I've robbed a train. And I've read a few of them where someone will say, we're going to go rob this train out in the Badlands. And they do that, and then they forget, oh yeah, the Badlands are called that for a reason.
And get robbed themselves.
Not only that, but find out that there's no water. So, like, they miss the train and then die because they can't the water. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you just go, my good God, why? Just why? You'd think you'd have a plan, right?
You would expect so, yeah. At least a plan beyond stop the train.
Well, I know that's my favorite, is when you read through these, a lot of the people have that part of the plan down. The train has to be stopped for me to rob it. That part they can figure out 99 times out of 100 is just, hey, if the train is moving, it's harder to rob. But the issue is you find a lot of people who, when it moves beyond that point, have no action or anything plan. It's just rob train. One of my favorites I read about was the guys who dynamited the safe out of the train because they were like, how much dynamite do we need to get the safe open? And nobody knew. Nobody knew how much dynamite was required in their gang. They had a guy who could ride horses, they had a guy who could track people, they had a bunch of guys who were stick-up artists, they had fences ready. They knew how to do every step of the train robbery except for dynamite. And so when it came down to dynamite, they ended up using all of it. Like, they were like, well, better just use all of it. And they just blew the safe and the car up. Like, it was just blam, crater. And they were like, oh, too much. If I remember correctly, those guys got caught because each and every single one of them had to seek laudanum because of burst eardrums. And so apparently a bunch of deaf cowboys screaming in town about how their head was ringing was a pretty fair giveaway.
Yeah. That would be one of those that, would be pretty... You don't gotta be a detective to figure that out.
The deaf boy gang. The guys just run around yelling and they can't hear anything you're saying. They're just screaming at you the whole time. Oh, God. There's some really good stories from just the Wild West era. I remember the one where the robbers robbed a train, and I want to say it was the 1890s. This is in a different book than the one I loaned Goat. But there was some guys who robbed this train, I want to say about 1890, 91. And they robbed the train, and they told the engineer and the conductor to just run off. Like, hey, get going, run off. Like, be gone. And so they ran off. Like, they literally ran off, and as they ran off, they took with them a mobile telegraph, which is a really interesting piece of equipment for the era. It's like a wooden box, and it's got 2 hooks on it, and you can hook it on a telegraph line and piggyback the line. And so if you hook the telegraph line and piggyback the line, you can send a telegraph or telegram as though you were on the train, because trains also had a, telegraph system. And so these guys ran down the track like 200 yards, went around the bend, hooked it up, and were like, hey, the train's being robbed. There's like 8 guys. They're all standing around. And so the next train that came along was a U.S. Army train. And it also had a telegraph. And they were like, oh, boy. So these guys are sitting there unloading this train onto a wagon. And here comes another train. And they go, you know what? I bet I could rob this one as well. And when 2 companies of U.S. Army CAV got out, that's when shit got real. Because they were just like, oh boy, here I go killing again. And yeah, I can only imagine the bonkers nonsense of that era. Unfortunately, Red Dead never let you do a lot of hysterical, crazy stuff with the train. You could only just like tie people up and then lay them on the train track.
Yeah, which was fun to do the Snidely Whiplash thing the first time.
Yeah, like once or twice, really. It's not something that stands out as. It's not something that stands out as great. But I mean, it's a good one-off, right? And everything's fun once, but funny always is not great.
Put him on the helicopter. Put him on the helicopter. Other side.
And I believe the book is Great Train Robberies of the Old West. I may be mistaken. I'd have to get up and actually go to my library and go on the wall to actually go check. So don't hold up for me. But there's plenty of good train robbery history. It was a very popular thing for a while to rob trains. It's one of those things. My library occupies a few different rooms. I have more books than I have guns, and I have lots of guns.
Hey, they say I did okay on that one. For B,
Hey.
it's a good score.
B, codename Doberman, I guess. B for pretty good.
I can't remember. Is she a side mission? I think she's a side mission, isn't she? A side op. Books and guns. The library. That's kind of what I'm trying to go for in this office here.
I've been doing the same thing. And did it become less popular due to everyone who thought it was a good idea dying? No, actually, train robbery became a lot less popular with a federal deposit system of putting banks everywhere that had gold. And many other, so you didn't have to transport money.
Thompsons on trains.
Yeah, that also ended it pretty quickly. But the issue is that it became, you see a transition from train robbery to automotive bandit robbery when you start to see banks start to collect money rather than in the Wild West era where money had to move from the east to the west to be dispersed. So most of the money going west was payroll. And so it was all counted out, ready to go, ready to be distributed. But when you look at when towns start being settled, populations start going up, they get their own banks, and the banks become rather large. And so these fiduciary hubs start to produce their own extreme wealth, and that results in a new era of banditry. Why rob a train when the bank's right there? And, back in the day, there was no such thing as an FBI, and no one could chase you over the state lines. So prior to the FBI getting its mandate to actually arrest people over state lines and pursue, robbing a bank as a federal offense, you could just rob a bank in a state and then leave the state or the county and no one could stop you. So you could rob a bank in Texas and go to Oklahoma and be like, uh-oh, you lose. And the cops would just have to throw their hat down on the ground and stomp on it. They couldn't do anything.
That was one of the big things around the killing of Bonnie and Clyde.
Indeed.
It was done by former Texas Rangers who had temporary warrants with the Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
And it was extrajudicial. They were outside of Texas. They had no authority.
Yeah, they had to get some local folks to stand in on that posse to even make that remotely quasi-legal.
Pinkertons fulfill a very weird role in American law enforcement in that era, and really up to about the 1940s. because they were in many ways a private police force. They were corporately owned and corporately contracted, but they had, in some ways and in some areas, nigh unlimited jurisdiction.
And not only that, I mean, now they've gone from stopping train robberies and investigating murders to shaking down people for Magic the Gathering. So, as you know, moving up in the world.
Yeah.
It's moving up in the world is one of those things. That whole escalation of pedigree that you would expect with any organization. Only up and up.
After they were especially brutal in breaking up a strike, and they said, well, the feds can't hire you anymore. They just went to being hired by corporate interests.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then they changed names a couple of times, and they can absolutely, positively be contracted by the government again.
I think they're under Securitas now.
They
which
are.
Is the
Securitas AG.
Yeah, the Swedish security company. So how many of these people are people you kidnapped that you've already just
All of them.
brainwashed? Okay, so these are all the brainwashed people, and they've just been brainwashed to realize that you are the bestest best that ever bested.
Mm-hmm. The biggest boss that ever bossed.
The biggest boss that ever bossed, and they salute you.
Great girl boss shit.
They all salute you. They all just absolutely salute you like, this is my new leader.
Yep.
And then you step off the helicopter, fall into the crouch, and then proceed to beat 6 shades of shit out of them in rapid order. You beat the brakes off of every single one of those. You run into the porta shower, and you're like, okay, and done.
Yep.
I love how you're physically and mentally refreshed from that.
Well, they did the whole thing with mental health in the 4th game, and they can't ignore that now because they've already done it.
Was mental health the part where you watched like the guy sit there and chain smoke cigarettes and it was just like a loading screen, but not a loading screen? Okay. Because it's like we're here to take breaks.
Somebody told me, and I've decided that it is now canon. It's how it happened for us. Is that we didn't watch the last 15 minutes of the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4 because we were taking our required 15-minute break every hour.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think it's funny that, the dog has an eye patch.
Yeah.
As you know, dogs love things put on their face.
Uh-huh.
And they just absolutely love things put on their face. And they are unafraid of helicopters. They just run right up to a helicopter.
For that, right?
Yeah, it's called a deaf dog.
Posture check, water break, stretch, and pet. And eye break.
All right. Posture.
Oh, yeah. Time to develop some dog armor.
Wouldn't it be funny if that dog just like had conversation with you, like, but only you could hear it, and it talked more the more damage you had. Like, that metal hook in your brain slowly moving made the dog more conversational.
Yeah, it's very much the Scooby and Shaggy dynamic.
Dog is voiced by John Goodman.
Oh, man. No, see, David Hayter should have voiced the dog.
I'm a dog.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer's a great guy. He seems to have put in plenty of hard work, but they didn't really give him anything to do here. But I think David Hayter just being a smarmy asshole as the dog, like, you're not the real Snake, asshole, would be an improvement, right?
I think anything would be an improvement at this point, just to be honest. Like, just to spice it up. I think that there would be some things you could do to spice up this game a lot. I think that you could really add some joy and crazy to this game. Just
Oh yeah,
little touches, little fun things here
and
and
some
there.
add some things that are wacky but don't make me feel gross.
Platform construction.
Yeah, like I don't know, Kojima's ability to write women is
Commencing
probably
platform
one
construction.
of the most concerning things I've
He
ever
says he's
seen.
happily married.
Commencing platform construction.
Has anyone ever seen the other person, or are they like CGI? Are I mean, I don't want to ask him because I'm pretty sure that he can make cutscenes happen in real life that you can't skip. You know what I mean? Like he'll just start talking and you're pinned in place and have to look, and it's like 2 to 3 hours of just talking, and it starts with him explaining why the fried egg is so critical.
Hey man, that egg was critical. Did you see it?
Approaching.
Yeah, I saw that kid like, ugh, good lord. Just, it's one of those things where you're sitting there watching somebody cook in a pan
Specify a project.
and they're using metal on metal.
What?
And you go, I hope that's cast iron. And you realize it's not. It's nonstick. And you're just like, okay, look,
Yeah,
I
they're
understand you're
just
trying to make a
scraping
perfect egg.
Teflon off.
Yeah, Teflon coated eggs are not the way I want to start my day. I have enough health problems. I don't need that. I just no. No. Want funny replace Snake with Mario? It would make sense. It would the random nonsense, Bob, jumping out of boxes, stealing people with balloons, that would make a lot more sense. A lot more sense.
Yep, time to develop the M16A1.
Yeah, that was, as you know, developed in the 80s by a handful of guys on an oil platform.
Who already had a car 15.
Why not? It starts off small and they got bigger over time, right?
Yeah.
It's like Micro Uzi was before Mini Uzi, which was before Uzi, right? That's the order, isn't it?
110%. What? I do love some of these weapons that you can develop. Want to put an RPO scope on an SVD? You can
And
do it.
Wasteland Saigas were invented in the 90s.
Yeah.
That is a Kalashnikov product of the 90s.
So this is a total conversion mod for the weapon system in this game. For those of you who haven't played it, for the 5th game, Kojima decided to replace all of the weapons, all of the equipment, with not quite right fake ones, like GTA style, where they'll mix a Camaro and a Corvette and call it the Chevette. Actually, never mind, Chevy did that.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Chevette. I don't want to give it time of day. I really want people to forget those products exist.
So,
if we
yeah.
don't speak their name, they won't come back.
Licenses is what people usually say. But, you've got, like, Far Cry calling it the Hitler and Crotch MP5. And they didn't get sued.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that you end up with a lot of game developers that end up with really, really weird ideas on guns. Because I remember even as far back as like GoldenEye on N64, it's like they were afraid of saying AK-47. I'm like, are you worried the Soviet Union's gonna come back from the
Yeah.
dead and then like
And
come and then file a lawsuit?
sure, maybe H&K could go after you. Fine.
Sure,
That's
sure. I mean, sure,
perfectly
it's-
reasonable. But
they have that kind of money. They have that kind of money. But when it comes down to something like
the
good,
Dishka?
well, yeah, it's like this is a state product. I mean, even if you
Yeah.
wanted to say that it was generic, you could just say the Type 47 or the the
That's how
assault
all
rifle
of the
47.
Call of Duty games get around it. Is they call it the L1019 instead of a SIG 226. I believe
Reasonable
that's a
enough.
British designation.
reasonable enough. Like,
Yeah.
you can go through, you could say, oh, well, we're worried about Kalashnikovs, so we'll just say, oh, this is an Narenko Type 56 or whatever.
The
Reasonable enough. Simple
M15182 is a
enough.
state-owned design. It was built by Ford and AMC in the 50s to the 70s. They changed the design to make it longer and give it some weird angles, and they renamed it like the M431 Mark or something instead of the M151. So this mod adds the correct names for everything that's in here. Ural is not going to sue them for the Ural name. So that's how these all
Yeah.
have the correct names on the vehicles and the emplaced weapons. And then it replaced all of the fake FNC-based weapons they had with the real equivalents. So that's why when you see the nanobot troopers that appear out of thin air and come in the mist, they all have Thompson submachine guns.
Well, quality choices all around. I mean, I'm more than happy to
I
see
don't know.
that
I
be
mean,
the
they're,
case.
they're Thompson M1s. They're not 1928.
Yeah, I know. Nobody's perfect, but I think that they go pretty well. I think that they go pretty well. Is reasonable enough because Thompson still keeps showing up in places,
They do.
especially in ones, especially Lend-Lease ones. They run forever. You will still see them
Gonna make
showing
these
up.
Side missions.
Good old side missions.
Side missions. Okay, yeah. There we go.
But yeah, I mean, to each their own when it comes down to small arms. Whatever works, works. But, and, I know people who are in the camp of they really love M1 Thompsons, and I know people that are, really in the camp of 1928s, and everybody likes their own stuff, and that's neat. But game developers should know better. You have pixels that you can bend and abuse into any shape you wish. Any shape you could fathom, wish, or care for. Simple as easy peasy. But they don't. It's just one of those really weird things where they seem to be afraid of copying a design, and I go, right, but most gun companies don't care. They're just like, oh,
They're
cool.
pleased that you are allowing the hero character to hold their weapon. Generally.
Yeah, it's free press. I mean, you typically don't see like Colt come out and try to sue a action movie star because some guy is carrying the gun who's an action hero. They're like, hey, the hero has that gun. I will now have more sales. Like, that's all they think about.
Yeah, and anybody that thinks that doesn't work has never seen anybody that owns a Spaz 12 because it was
Yeah.
in Rainbow Six back in the day,
Yeah.
or a Dirty Harry Smith and Wesson.
Yep. Should the Thompson be brought back as a standard issue in the U.S. military? No. No.
No, God,
no. God, no.
It
One.
probably
heavy.
should have been replaced at the start of World War II.
Yeah, it's incredibly heavy, expensive to manufacture. Lots and lots and lots of moving parts that need to be intricately oiled. It's all hand fit, which is another son of a bitch. And yeah, no, absolutely not. They are obscenely expensive to make, and they require a lot of skill to armor. They're not great in terms of a military arm. It's really good for like law enforcement and many other things where you're not going to have to hump around carrying it everywhere. But if you had to like walk all over Europe with a Thompson, you would probably hate it. You'd probably also be an inch shorter.
That ball's got to be hard on a dog's. I gotta go choke a sheep out.
Gotta choke a sheep out. All right. I mean, just things you hear in this Let's Play, right? Is this for like a barbecue back at the base, or like what's the
No,
deal?
we're saving them. We're going to go put them on an oil platform with no shade. They're safe. We pulled them out of the combat zone. We are
They're
good
safe.
people.
It's always
I
worth
don't care about
using.
the rest of them.
It's always worth using a low-flying military aircraft and a combat zone to rescue sheep.
Yeah. I'm a
Is this?
capricious god. I stole 2 of the flock and will leave the rest to their doom.
Yeah, probably. Got to choke out a sheep.
It's yeah. It's like the quote I threw at you guys right there at the tail end of the Traveler game about the fishing but throwing it back.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, I can't wait for this bad guy to die. I was like, I thought my character was crazy, but no. I only visited. I did not
I
own
used
the tickets
probably
to
a
that.
third of the material I had for that character.
It was not our fault we got lost. It was not our fault I got lost. It's one of those things where it happens. It's a Traveler game. Misjumps happen, and then we kept fucking around, and that's fine.
Well, that misjump was a wonderful thing to happen, but it also threw a wrench in things. I had
it
a
made
little
things
bit of a
fun.
difficult time weaving
It made
things back
things-
together from there.
It made things fun. And I have no idea what's with the rifling in these guns, but I think that this is one of those things where like Snake sat on the rifle, and that's why it's not
No,
straight.
have you ever read the the armory report of the guy?
Oh yeah,
who,
yes.
the
Or they said
smoothbore XM4
yeah,
that came back.
said it put a ball bearing down the barrel, and it passed without making a sound.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have to
yeah.
imagine with the drop on some of these weapons that they are all smoothbore in exactly that same manner. It's the only way I can explain it.
If all those people are clustered up down there, maybe Professor Rocketstein can do some work.
You think it's that time?
I think it's time to use the old goose tube, the chicken shucker. Let's let Dr. Gustav spin us a remix, shall we? Ah, good old Carl. All right, yeah, let him loose. Blammo. Let him have a blammo. Oh, see, and that.
Oh, I
yeah,
love that. I love that. That's great.
Oh, hell yeah. Ba ba
Man.
ba ba ba.
Oh, we earned the
ba.
word fire. Excellent.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
we could name our unit fire, like fire, fire.
Exactly. Well, we're the zero
Yeah.
zeros right now. I'm sure we can do better.
We can do a lot
We're
better.
the fire Dobermans.
Yeah, fire. Yeah, fire.
I'm gonna extract him. He's the only one that survived. Shut the fuck up, Kaz. Why don't you come here and do that? Oh, you can't, because you lost your fucking leg. Shut up.
We got it.
That's
Don't
all
worry
I mean.
about it.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it's no more mean than the fact that Snake really busted out of that hospital to skip out on the bill. That's
Well,
my
yeah, he's an
headcanon.
American, so he didn't have the insurance for it.
No, they were just like they did a wallet biopsy, and they're like, As far as water-cooled heavy machine guns go, that's kind of an interesting idea, but they're a pain in the ass to set up. Adding water to anything in the field complicates things because you can't just put whatever in there except in an emergency. It needs to actually be good water.
Yeah, it needs to be distilled. It can't have any contaminants.
Yeah, and keeping all that pure and good, there are a lot more maintenance to work on. The water jackets need to be sealed really well. The machines, well, water
Any
cooled.
incoming fire is going to ruin your water jacket.
Indeed. Now, the other thing, though, that's interesting is that ships already use a lot of water cooling, especially in the autocannons. So that already exists. But yeah, you typically don't want to go backwards in history. Water-cooled machine guns still have a place, but most of the time they fit in a museum, and they are extremely heavy. They do have a place in static warfare. They do absolutely still work. But
John
when you look at
Vassalone
other
earned
things,
his Medal of Honor for carrying one around Guadalcanal for a reason.
yeah,
Because
they
that was an
are
absurd thing to do.
right. They have certain areas they excel in, but they are not They are not many, at least on a modern battlefield. Especially for the same weight, you could get a 50 cal in there. That's the way to go. It's a heavier projectile or something that is heavier in terms of capability is always desirable over the same thing, but with more weight of fire. Because if you need a greater weight of fire in that weight, you could also get a minigun, which is going to increase your density of fire on target by a whole shitload. Which, you don't need a firefight to last 3 hours. You can have it last 8 seconds.
Short and violent is the way they typically go anyway.
It's just, it's really not common where you would need to design or desire a water-cooled machine gun. There are places where they do work, but they are not frequent on modern battlefields. It is more desirable to have movement, rapid breakdown, and transportation. Reliability as well in all conditions is very important, and something that has added maintenance requirements is typically not desirable.
You need to make contact with Emmerich. Get out of that sniper's kill zone and head to Sirach power plant.
Give me half a second here. We're gonna cheese this fucking thing.
Are you just gonna smonk her out?
No.
Or are you just gonna drop an ammo crate on her?
I'm just gonna drop an ammo crate on it.
It's why you typically don't want to sit still in these sorts of things. Also, I hate to say this, but at that range, if she adjusted correct, she could just shoot over that brick that you're hiding
like
behind.
my head's popping up over top.
Even if it wasn't, if you were a foot or two behind it, you could angle it in just fine. It's this thing called ballistics because it goes on a parabola.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Nice.
The enemy sniper just disappeared. Zero visibility.
All right, bonk.
You don't stand a
Operation Bonk is achieved.
Yeah. Bonked her good. Apparently when I burned her skin off, I also lost her depth perception. You can't shoot for shit.
Well, neither can you. You have one eye. That's why your guy. That's why your guy can't shoot for shit. That's why his MOA is so shit. It's because he has one eye.
My favorite part of all of it is anytime Snake aims down his sights in a cutscene, he uses the eye patch. He still,
as you do.
He still lines up on his right eye. So he runs into a room. And all of his fucking soldiers are behind him, and he's like, I hope you guys got this, because I can't see shit, as he looks through his dead eye at his peep sight on his M16.
That's fair. I mean, it's rough, but that's fair. She's probably up there under that ammo crate. If I had to guess.
Oh no, she ran off. Am I stuck now? Do I have to Skyrim horse my way up? Where did you go, dog? Oh. There she is.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, looks like she found you. With a bullet this time. Which is amazing.
She heard me talking shit.
Yeah, you were talking shit, and then they decided to get really mad. Because the crate and stuff.
If somebody dropped a fucking crate on me, I'd be pretty pissed. Like, I'll give her that one.
That's a statement. Like, getting really upset would be, yeah, I could see that.
Speaking of.
Oh, yep, time to arrange another delivery.
Supplies requested.
Just another, just right, right there. Make sure, she has plenty of ammo. As you know, because in video games, snipers go through lots of bullets.
Yeah.
Supply drop complete.
God, I'm gonna have to drive over there and pick her ass up.
Too bad you can't just, like, have a harpoon, you stick somebody and they float away.
They've fallen away screaming.
Yeah, you just harpoon them in the shank of the leg, and then just you get them.
There we go. Done.
Handled. Simple. Hail Cargonia.
Did you despawn my truck?
Hail Cargonia. You just gotta hail that Cargonia. Because if you believe in cargo will work for you.
Cargonia. Yeah, she teleports away. I remember that. It's just so much less of a pain in the ass than doing the actual non-lethal normal kill on her.
You know, the thing was, the first time I did this game, this lady
get
started shooting at me, and I was like, I'm tired of your shit, and I just blew her brains out. Like, I was just like, well, no, you don't. No, Missy, I don't think so. I have a rifle, you have a rifle, it's on. And then I realized, wait, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I will give them credit that they allowed you to do that. 'Cause that's a ballsy thing to just let people kill off or, like, not rescue the dog. You can not rescue the dog if you want.
I mean,
Everybody loves
props.
dogs, so...
Props to them for that. I think they did a good job with giving you a choice.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Fuck do I get up there? Not there, evidently. Really? Was she on one of the unreachable ones? Oh, no, never mind.
Look, it's
A
like Red
black
Dead.
powder bomb lance?
Typically
Hey, brother,
not.
we
Those
call
are
those
not.
fireworks in America.
Yeah. Bomb lances are one of those things that are very short range. You're shooting a giant, like, wrought iron or bronze rod. It's an interesting piece of equipment. I've seen a few of them. They're pretty interesting, but there are not many of them left. Most of them got completely eaten up.
I don't remember having a 1911.
I'd just be like, ma'am, please wear more clothes and some sunscreen.
There is a mod to put her back in the XOF gray from the start of the game. I may do that.
I would. I'd just be like, ma'am, please wear a uniform. It's
My
one of
first
those.
time through, I developed the Eva outfit because I was like, oh yeah, we'll just stick her in the Eva outfit. No, she can't go in it. Because she breathes through her skin.
Wow.
She has a 1911 too. Everybody
Everyone's
here's
got
fucking
a-
sponsored by Kimber.
Everyone's got a 1911. Everyone's got a 1911.
Why did you
Yeah.
just eject around?
Yeah, because
You
now
didn't
it's
take out the mag.
no, and that would have required more animation. All right, just yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Doesn't look comfortable for either of you.
Yeah, don't. But hey, just gotta take her, I guess, to the plane or something where they will
Yeah.
something.
Not setting foot on this base. I hear you, Cass. I hear you. Unfortunately, you're a whiny little bitch, so I'm not going to listen. I'll take it all under advisement.
I will take it under advisement. That's an adult way to say fuck off. Fuck this and fuck you. It's I will take it under advisement. Fuck this and fuck you equals I will take it under advisement. There's some other things you can learn doing management in corporate environments. One of them is wow, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks means fuck you. So if someone is like, hey, can you add this to your action item list? Yeah. Oh, great, thanks. Thank you very much. That just means fuck you. But yeah, you'll run into a lot of interesting doublespeak in the world as you get out there.
I feel like Snake just has the natural ability to reach into an empty holster and pull out a 1911.
I think that's kind of true. I really do.
She's too sexy to kill.
She's too sexy for her shirt. Too sexy for her shirt. God, why? Really?
Yeah,
Why?
well, it's strange that when Naked Snake, the lecherous motherfucker from the third game in Peace Walker, decided he wanted a body double, he decided to choose a medic who was just as lecherous.
It's just a little bit of lechery.
Just the tiniest little bit.
Why wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't be a Kojima game without a little bit of lechery, right?
Fine, huh? Shame. She's one of a kind. Fine by me. We don't need her type. Boss,
We don't need her type, says Kaz, the most bitter man in the world. He just needs to let go and live Moss.
You know, it's one of those things where people ask, what do you sacrifice for your career? And he's like, this job cost me an arm and a leg. He doesn't have a lot to stand on, that guy, you know? He needs to learn to lean on his friends more.
Yes, he does.
I'm glad he's just hopping
Sniper
along,
Quiet
though.
Heart. Yeah, I found our new super special name, Sniper Quiet Heart.
Excellent. Excellent.
That sounds like a unit that would actually be in a Kojima game.
Yeah, it would be a bunch of snipers that use their heart to find the hearts of the enemy because, like, in his brain, only a heart can kill
Yeah.
a heart or something like that.
Like
And
their
it's-
equivalent of Ocelot flipping his revolvers as they like touch just to the left of their breastbone before they take the shot to remind themselves where the human heart is.
I really want to see, and I mean, I truly want to see just one remix of any of his flipping the revolver
The dog's
scene.
flying?
Don't worry about it. The dog is flying. The dog has the cyclic in his mouth.
Well, okay,
He's
dog's the
maintaining
co-pilot.
RPM.
He's on the left.
Yeah, maintaining RPM, you know, doing really well. Just you know, the dog is really with it.
Oh god, not a Harrier. A jet that's almost certain to win a dogfight against any World War II piston engine fighter.
The Harrier, less fighter than most fighters from 2 wars ago, and less bomber than let's not get into it. At the speed of, well, yeah. So,
Dog's better at flying than you and Nick are? Yeah.
that's true.
Well,
Now,
so
okay,
Nick didn't
what-
have anything to do with that. I was the pilot. He was the weapons guy. We'd
Here's
like
my
to do another
question.
VTOL thing.
Here's my question with a Harrier, right? Harriers don't have a really long range, do they?
Now,
No. No, they don't. So where did the Harrier come from?
it's, it was probably on, if I had to say, a container ship.
No, that's where they land sometimes. That's where they land. They don't. Come on. That's. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Let's take
Oh,
that
yeah.
Remington 700 and just, you know, like a deer hunter, shoot the guy out of this. Like, who in the fuck has a Harrier out to sea without a support ship? That sounds like a good way to eat it.
I mean,
Like, I know a way to defeat that Harrier, and it's really simple. It's called get low to the ground and then fly under it. Just fly under it. Just fly under the Harrier. Just fly under it, and it'll be like his aim 9 will go beep beep nah, and then you get under it, and it's like you can't shoot. You know. By the way, that experience with that sniper rifle is definitely what has happened to me in BattleBit Remastered, but I wasn't flying a Harrier. But I was being equally as useless. I love how she charges the bullets out of there when you could just remove that magazine.
okay, so the
Just,
original model
know.
didn't have a magazine.
I understand, but you can remove most magazines of rifles. There's even if it's a non-removable magazine, there's a floor plate where you just hook your thumb or a screwdriver or a tool under,
I
and pop it
believe
open.
in the original game, that's their Mosin Nagant equivalent, is what she's shooting.
Yeah, Mosin Nagant, you can pop that plate out. It's yeah. And Harriers are great for air shows. I agree.
Man, we got
it's
3 direct action. Well, okay, yeah, they probably have multiple of those. I did just lose a bunch of them.
yeah, we probably just bought a whole shitload all at once.
Northrop Grumman, eat your heart out.
So are these the Sky Police? I forget who these people's beef are.
These are Kaz's henchmen.
Oh. Sky Police, na 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 na.
You're trying to wave me off? Fuck you, man. I land where I want. Yeah, the Red Berets come out.
Oh, the Red Berets.
It's Sam Fisher. This does not look the way I recall it looking.
Hey, I think it's nice to see that Sam Fisher's still, finding work. And
that man pointing the gun at Snake, he's about to get triple beatings. That man will never not have a broken bone. I'll be like, raging asshole, I need you to report to my office. All right,
and you hear
time.
Percussive maintenance just for like 10 minutes. You just hear people hitting the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Did she just disappear a bit?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, sure.
Did she always have the one opera glove?
I really don't care.
That seems new to me. Like, I don't recall that. Sam Fisher reporting.
Oh yeah,
those are not thermals. Those are.
Don't worry about it.
PS7s.
Just put it on so you can be blind as shit and not have to worry about things.
The PVS-7, a Generation 2 night vision device, almost guaranteed to be able to spot spiders at 4 feet distance.
Whoa, spiders at 4 feet?
The cause of most driving and night accidents in the United States military in Desert Storm.
They weren't all that bad. Half of them didn't even work.
Well, okay, I'll give the PVS-7 credit. It always turned on. It made a whirring noise, and the screen went green. It usually didn't resolve into an image after that, but it did go green.
I just love the fact that you emerge out of this helicopter looking like you crawled through effluence. You look like you've toured a slaughterhouse on your hands and knees. Like you look like somebody who went to a piñata party that they filled with meat.
The PVS-7, you see more without it.
Now you see me, now you see nothing.
I learned to drive under night vision with a PVS-7. I cleaved the antenna mount off of a Cuckbee.
Well, you did your part. You proved that it is a...
Hey, that's the Army's fault for making the standard that you mount the antennas on the side body panels of those trucks. You look like you got carried. The eye patch is clean, though. You are correct.
Yeah, that's
Teflon
fair.
eye patch. That sounds like something Snake would actually have. Like, yeah, I get covered in blood a lot.
Just a little bit of blood. Just a little bit of blood. I mean, you know.
No,
just
driving
a little bit
under
of blood.
nods is a very unique experience because everything... You have no depth perception, at least on single tube, which would be PVS-7, PVS-14. Everything you do and happen has a little bit of a lag time, even on analog. It's not nearly as bad as on modern or old digital systems like the Chinese are producing. Uh, but yeah, no, you're driving along at 15 or 20 miles an hour, and things happen after they've already happened by about a tenth of a second.
Please select
So it's
language.
really hard to go any faster than that because you'll just kill people. I really do like the Muppets theme as the helicopter music. I think it sets the right tone.
It does. It adds something, and that something is called insanity. That's definitely what we needed here.
I also like the idea of a modern direct action penetrator Blackhawk painted in Murdoch camo like it's still 1975. That's why I keep this camo, because I just love it. It adds whimsy.
Just a little bit of whimsy for your war crimes, right?
Thank you for the bit, Teletanker. The whip antennas are super cool. You know, except when we'd shatter them on bridges because we forgot to tie them forward before we went on convoy ops. Then they were distinctly not cool.
Oh, come on. You want
Hey,
a little
Deputy, why did
bit
we
of...
lose contact with you halfway through your route?
Don't worry about it. It's all normal. It happens all the
we
time.
we need more antennas.
More antennas. More antennas help. I mean, I
Meanwhile, in
designed
the
that in a car
cutscene
game.
copter, whoop,
Overall completion, 9%.
9% complete. Yes. Challenge task list. Let's see what we got.
What challenges do we have? We got some GIMP money. GIMPA.
Gross military product.
Oh,
By
yeah.
not using the petrodollar, Kojima attempts to mock the commodification of war as an economy. I'm just making things up. I don't know if that's actually what he said. It was a Muppet theme, yes. You are not crazy. Do we like the unicorn? Are we sticking with the unicorn? Do we wanna go with something else?
I can't decide. I think what we need to go. You know what? All right, we got 0 zeros. I like fire. I think fire is very cool.
Okay, yeah, let's do
I think
fire.
that's fire is really neat. Fire.
I think we have
Fire
an image
good.
of fire that we could replace the.
Yeah, let's just have fire, and we'll Beavis this thing. Yeah.
I wish that disco was a word, because I'd figure out a way to make it fire in the disco.
Fire in the disco.
Fire in the Taco Bell.
Fire in the disco. Fire in the Taco Bell.
If you guys have not heard that song, it's Electric Six. They're fucking nuts. They're a Detroit band that are pretty interesting. Gotta there, yeah, right there. Fire.
Fire.
Beautiful. Yes, they are the people that sing Gay Bar.
I think we're doing our part. We're fire.
We're doing real good.
We are, yeah, this is what we do. Fire.
Please select a mission.
Recapture the Colton mine? Sure. And I'm going to send my least capable people, because maybe we'll clear some of them out.
You know, I think that's reasonable. We send people out, they get it done, and it's done.
We are going to go make contact with Mr. Emery. And, yeah, I need a vehicle. Hold on. I have to cancel the mission, guys. Because
Gotta cancel the mission.
Gotta cancel the mission. Have to do it.
Gotta cancel the mission. Fire in the Taco Bell.
Yeah, okay. Where do I go to customize the trucks? Resources.
And don't send in the mundaneness. That will not end well.
Oh, I don't want to sell any of these. I want to paint them.
You want to paint and have fun with them?
I mean, I'm sending a fucking American Jeep into Afghanistan. Fine. Alright, we'll just keep it green. Oh shit! Cancel the mission, boys. It's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, just send it back. Like we don't need no vehicle. We don't need it.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
funny if you could just paint the vehicle up like the enemy's vehicle, you know, and put all the enemy's kit on it, and then just follow them around. They're not
Yeah.
gonna look that close.
See, that's the kind of stuff that could have been very interesting in this game. Because yeah, you're a single operative, and what's the enduring image of at least invasion era Iraq and Afghanistan? It's special operators with a mix of Western equipment and local garb, so they blend in a little bit better. That could have been an interesting thing to do, or have civilians at all, I suppose. But
They could have done a lot of things that they didn't.
more
But
sheep.
it's excellent. That's exactly, you know, what I think of as just like medieval ruins in the middle of some field, and sheep running around, just because that's what it is.
That dog's gonna have hip problems jumping 15 feet out of a helicopter as it flies off.
The dog just hits the ground and is still. and then you just have to
Yes,
drive
I
off
broke your
very
dog.
sad. I broke your dog. You need to train another one. An Afghan wolf.
Yes, it's a wolf. I forget.
An Afghan wolf. Go find another one. I broke it. It exploded.
God. Transportation specialist. So I've got to find a transportation specialist. Okay. We're going to do that before we actually do this side op.
That sounds reasonable.
Because if we do this side op without having that Fulton upgrade, I can't steal all the little walker guns.
That sounds like a sad, but yeah, I understand. And I love that also, you know, the Russian or Soviet army in Afghanistan, you know, had a bunch of little walkers that were doing things. And, you know, in the middle of their occupation of that country, used a army of little walker mechs and ghost ladies that could disappear and reappear in sandstorms.
Well, no, she's Zero's woman.
Oh, I'm sorry. That would be a different faction fighting, and of course the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan for no reason.
Yes.
Again, you could really touch on real things that happen, but I guess the fantastic.
This is such an odd conflict to try and insert a massive mercenary army into, because there are so many ways that you could use the mercenary thing. If you just had no regard for taste, which Kojima kind of doesn't. Yeah. I just find this choice kind of odd.
Well, again, why even make it Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to just make up a country,
You
make
made
up
the
a country.
vehicles fictional. You made
Make everything fictional. Make your own strange, real country. Say, oh, you know, this is a breakaway republic.
Oh no, Krasnovia has invaded Pakistan again.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. What? I'd never heard of that. Where's that on the map again? It's in a place. Don't worry about it.
Analysis complete.
The whole country is one giant box canyon, Snake. No one's been in there. Our Statska's on the ground doing its best.
Exactly. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to get in the way of our Statska. Especially with the mercenary thing, having an option to take different contracts within, this conflict zone. Like, we can back these guys, or we can tell them to fuck off and back the other guys. Could have been an interesting take.
Anything would have been an interesting take. I mean, there's a lot of interesting takes you could make. Fictional country, fictional bad guys, all sorts of fun things.
You've got a 40% chance of making it. Godspeed, friend.
40%, 100% of the time. That's the 100% is the chance I'm taking. 100%.
Yep, I killed that man. Extraction failed.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So we'll want to wait on him. We'll want to wait on him. And this guy has an unknown skill, which I hope is transportation. Still 40% while it clears. 100%.
40%. 40%, 100% of the time. Again, I will take that 40% all day, every day.
I mean, 40%'s gambling odds. If you had a 40% chance of winning the lottery, you'd buy a couple of lottery tickets, right?
Sure, obviously. Obviously, if it was winning the lottery, if it was at a small chance of maybe getting somebody with the job skills you need for your business, well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a bit of a shit show. Never tell me the odds.
But the odds are actually really good. Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. Not once. Not twice. But never. Never
Supply
ever tell me the
outpost.
odds.
I thought that said sleepy outpost.
Sleepy outpost. It's very cozy. Everyone's all curled up and happy and good.
Anaconda, PSG-1. Ooh, PSG-1. And the M60 upgrade. But no transportation specialist. Alright.
Seems like you could put out a one ad.
Yeah.
You know, do what they used to do back in the day, like take out an ad in Belgian papers.
Required. Norwegians. For job in Africa. Must bring own Thompson.
Roland, we're looking at you.
Prefer individuals named Roland.
We're taking a whole bunch of people.
We're doing a sequel.
Pretty much. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a beverage.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Analysis complete.
He's got some kind of tactical skill set.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
I believe he's a boaster.
Analysis complete.
He's got some kind of technical skill set.
Analysis complete.
He's just good at fighting people.
Analysis complete.
He's maybe medicinal. We're gonna gut these guys anyway, because for whatever reason, half of them speak a African language that no Soviets probably ever actually learned. You can abduct, brainwash, and then release the Russians. Good, but that's a lot of work to put into somebody. I mean, think about how times. You gotta hit them with the truth serum, and then all the bruised knuckles from slowly breaking them down.
Analysis complete.
Shit, I didn't mean to hold you up.
Analysis complete. May have just picked a gunfight I didn't really want. That's okay. Firefighter said knock you out. Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right, I'm back. What have we learned?
Well, I've got
Is
a pile
violence-
of sleeping people.
Oh, that's good. That sounds lovely.
Somehow,
Is the
I've
is the
knocked
enemy
on the
investigating the sleeping people, or
They are.
or
That's
they
how the
just-
pile
okay.
got bigger.
Okay, so they're like, wow, a bunch of people over there look like they're asleep out in the open in the middle of the day, you know, in the blinding sun. Seems like maybe they had a siesta, you know. They had a little bit of
I
a...
mean, everybody knows that laying on cement in Afghanistan is an excellent way to spend your time.
Yeah, they just decided they would curl up under the cover of noon and have themselves a little seep-seep.
I made that guy a new face hole. Alright. Good life, guys. I'm gonna fire like half of you when I get back to base.
That sounds like... Yeah, I mean, well, you're going to fire them off the side or into walls. That's what you mean. You're going to fire them into objects and watch them fall down.
Well, yes, among other things. But that's not important now.
That's fair.
Like, if you saw a wolf with an eye patch, what would your reaction to be?
Leave. Like that it's either that is a villain or it's attached to one, right? It's one of those two things.
God, I hate their little lean animation because they always do it just as I pull the trigger.
That's why they do it. They were trained. Like, this is how long it takes an agent or an operative
Time to pet the dog.
to... Yeah, you gotta pet the dog, of course.
Gotta pet
The
the
dog
dog.
hasn't... The dog hasn't made any noise. The dog is very polite and kind.
Please select a drop point. Supplies requested.
Just
Light,
gotta have
kind
you-
dog is my favorite.
I mean, if there's a wolf with an eye patch, I'm going to ask, okay, someone train that dog to not freak out wearing an eye patch, or that dog is bad enough to have a knife fight or something, and then someone fashioned it an eye patch. Either way, stay the fuck away from that dog. That dog is good.
You ever see the guy who put his gold chain on a deer and then it ran off with it?
No. Why?
Yeah, deer was in his yard and he's like, oh yeah, you know, Bambi's really cool, just let me pet it and stuff. And then he put his like Mr. T gold chain on the deer, and it spooked the deer and it ran off into the woods. And he was like, that's like a $1,500 gold chain.
That's a very rich deer now.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a very rich deer. Very rich.
Somebody 8 years from now is going to shoot that doe and be very confused.
They're going to be like, did this deer have a posse? Or maybe a rap album? Or, you know, perhaps this deer was like a stunt deer on a certain TV show. I mean, is it dropping loot?
Jesus
What's
Christ,
going
you're
on?
a fucking boaster. I did all that to rescue you, and you won't even tell me what you fucking do. Fuck you, asshole. Just for that? Fuck you. You get an extra ketamine.
Side ops list updated.
Alright,
Subject is in.
Extraction
time to get out of here.
arrived at Mother Base.
Seen a deer with a bucket on its antlers. That is markedly less cool than a deer with a gold chain. But I'll grant you that. That's a weird one. I've seen a deer with another deer head stuck to it. Locked antlers, apparently super locked, and one of them died and its head rotted off, and then the other just kept it. Nature be like that sometimes, I guess. What are you?
Analysis complete.
I'm really worried that deer are getting smarter, because I've seen deer just kind of casually walk around cities sometime. They look like they're out to like go to the grocery store. They don't look scared anymore.
Yeah. I will say
Like,
they're not better
look like
at,
they have a mortgage.
dodging cars.
Well, neither are people, really. I mean, it's like, I bet in any given day there's more people that are hit by cars than deer. I think that deer are about equal to that. I think it's just a matter of time before, like, you see a deer, like, riding public transit, you know, maybe with, like, a paper and a thermos.
Alright, yeah, I'll grant you that.
Sitting there with, like, earbuds in, like catching up on podcasts, just
Yeah.
looking at people, giving them the side eye.
No, deer would absolutely be listening to Corn Futures.
They're like, this interests me. This is
And now
relevant.
on NPR.
This is relevant to my interests.
Either that or they'd be calling into Car Talk. I
Oh,
don't
God.
understand why more people don't put deer whistles on their car.
You know, they stopped making that show, I think,
Did
on
they?
account of them on account of them dying. I mean, I think they do reruns, but, you know, Click and Clack, I believe one of them is deceased and the other is very, very old.
That's fair. It's entirely possible that I've never heard it live. I've only ever heard reruns. Because how would you know? How would you tell?
It's also quite possible. It's a lot of NPR stuff is like, yeah, the last show I tuned into was 4 years ago. It is one of those things where you just check in every so often to make sure it still exists, you know.
Come on down here. You can see me, right? You see me? You see me? You see me? You don't see me. Fuck you.
What if you hit him with a
Jesus Christ.
box? like a box. I think that would, yeah.
You think I should drop a box on him? Fuck him. Dropping a box on him. Tactical riot, technical intelligence.
That sounds like a winner.
Please select a drop point. Supplies requested.
You know, I have to agree. That does sound like a pretty good one. Buddy. See you. See your ugly little face. Ray is still doing voice work for Pet Boy ads. Okay.
Pep Boys, buy enough parts to ruin your car.
Tom Miata passed away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Ray
good reason
didn't
to
wanna
stop
do it
doing the
without his
show.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. If you know,
What?
I died or you died, I don't think you'd want to do Madness Mondays. Well, no, actually, if I died, my request is simple. You just need to say, oh man, Tex died. Anyways, and then just keep playing. That's what I want. Simple as.
All right. I think we can manage that.
I think that would be easy. Anyways, look, you got enough sound bits of me to clip something together that sounds semi-coherent most day. You're allowed to cry, but you got to start clipping stuff together. You'd be like, here's the shit post. You know, you just, text soundboard. Yeah, text soundboard. It'll be easy. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Not dying anytime soon. All right, so let's see. You've got all these guys who are just passed the fuck out, and you're just attaching balloons to them. Now, is this... I hate to say this, but you're putting them up at random times, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm in my head seeing one guy hit the front of a plane. You know what I mean? Like, and then the other one, the second guy, manages to get picked up at the right time. Just manages to get picked up and actually is folding away. And then the third and fourth go into the props or the underside of the aircraft.
Yeah, the C-130 is just covered in gore.
Yeah, it's like every time it goes by.
People is what it aimed for.
Yeah, it's like, look, this one's in front of me. That's the best I got. I'm sorry.
Best I can do.
Best I can do. I got one of them.
You know, me and the boys, they were thinking that 1 out of 6 ain't bad.
1 out of 6 ain't bad. One out of 6 is 3 out of 5 in my book. Sounds like something Kojima would write to be like clever.
Yeah.
You just sit there and stare and be like, it
And then
doesn't even
he
sound.
would try and tie it into a really tortured metaphor about the Ouroboros.
Ugh.
Because Snake and Liquid Snake fight each other. It's a snake eating the snake. See, we've already written like another Metal Gear right there.
I could write a Metal Gear by shooting a Tom Clancy book series. Like, take all of Tom Clancy's library, right? And throw it up in the air and just shoot it with a 12 gauge. Pull, blam. Pull, blam. Pull, blam. And then as the pages come down in tatters, taping them back together in no order whatsoever.
In the order they fall.
In just whatever, with some of the phone book, a recipe book, and a movie guide by Leonard Maltin. And put all that together. And you...
Yeah, are we back yet?
Hold on, let me hit reload and let's see. Let's see. Oh, we are back.
We're back. Fuck yeah, we're back.
Da-dun, da-dun. Da-dun, da-dun.
Speaking of shoving things in where they don't belong in tortured metaphors, fucking conflict diamonds in this game.
Oh god, yes.
Where they're just littering the floor like they're party favorites. It just, it shows a wanton disregard for how any of this actually works.
It's a really interesting idea, isn't it? It's a really, well, because okay, here's my takeaway from that. You've got conflict diamonds, which typically are coming out of,
Sierra
Africa.
Leone, yeah.
Yeah, well, any place that De Beers has stock in local affairs, diamonds.
We can thank Mr. Rhodes for that.
But you end up with a magical realm, if you will. A magical realm of whimsy, where Kojima thinks that all black market gray op stuff is fed by diamonds. And I'm like, right, but there's other precious things. There's also just money. You can use pallets of money, which is typically what we saw in Afghanistan and Iraq, historically, is you see palletized money to go into paying the locals and everything else and ensuring compliance. So there's always money in a war zone, especially in one of these long-term occupations. And, history has just shown that, armies will need money, even in the field. There will need to be money. There will need to be money moving around and doing stuff. Now, as much as a bank, you'd be surprised. You would be very surprised. And Mr. Train, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Train. Thank you so much.
The weather will clear shortly.
Good old times. It's one of those things where you really wonder, you have to really wonder, what in the cinnamon toast fuck is going on in Kojima's brain? Because I know you could probably make a better war movie by just copying a Western. Any Western.
RoboCop's a Western. It is fucking amazing.
Yeah, just copy a Western. Simple as. No problem. No problem whatsoever. Just copy a Western. There's a lot of fun storytelling you can do with a Western. It doesn't have to be set in the Wild West.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, the Western is just adaptation to a Western setting of some traditional Japanese storytelling techniques.
In Ryu 579 says RoboCop is a Midwestern. It is in Detroit, yes.
But I mean, when you look at the story structure, a single law enforcement figure comes into a city that's rife with crime and corruption and cleans it up. It's a Western. Listen to the RoboCop theme and the way that it is composed. That is music that would not have been out of place in any of the spaghetti westerns of the era, with the exception of the electronic elements.
I think that they did a really good job telling that story, and it's why a lot of people like 80s movies, is because the storytelling is really good.
Yeah.
It really is truly very good.
Did we get our technical specialists that we wanted, or am I just gonna have to fucking do this?
You just gotta find a guy. You just gotta put some feelers out, in the job market.
Because if I have to fucking just eat crow on this because I can't.
Don't eat Mike, I need him.
Fair enough, yes. Yeah, no, I didn't get the guy I needed. I guess that was a differently skilled person. Fuck.
Always joyful.
Transportation specialist.
Yep,
I
gotta
guess we're
find
just-
a specialist to build bigger balloons. You
Yep.
couldn't just figure out that on your own.
No?
Can't buy technology that already exists either.
Guess we gotta do it. Let's go get fucking... God, but
Let's
I
go
can't...
find a guy. Let's go find a guy.
Yeah, we have to find this guy. Because I can't pull out the fucking... walkie-talkie robot without this guy either.
You know, walkie-talkie robot is really fun in an era where if you went into a Radio Shack, that sounds like a product they sell. Walkie-talkie robot.
You know what I mean. It's the little walkie robot that also
Walkie-talkie robot from the makers of Speak and Spell and the BlackBerry.
I looked like one of Norman Schwarzkopf's Delta Force guys that were his guards, but I just spilled an entire thing of jam on myself.
He was like drinking a cran apple and someone scared him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like picking your finger in your nose and then you sneezed and stabbed your brain.
Want to know where the transport specialist is? Sure. Do I have to go through all these unlucky dog fucking missions to get him? Their burger, or did I miss him? Did I kill him? That sounds like something I would have done.
That's crazy. Who would do that?
Mission 10 in the bombed out palace. I let him get killed. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
That sounds like me.
That sounds crazy.
Alright, looks like we're redoing Mission 10.
Don't worry about it. I just gotta go get the guy and be like,
Go
remember when
get
I
the
killed
guy.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember when I killed you? I don't.
Well, thank you for not putting me through all the side ops. I'm just not going to get off the helicopter. We're going to hover there awkwardly for a couple minutes, and then we'll fly away. Because I think we're on like the entire wrong side of Afghanistan. I'm not
That's
catching the brown bear.
Gotta capture the brown bear of Afghanistan.
The brown bear is a pain in the ass. No, I'm not getting off the helicopter. Just fly off. Are we just gonna sit here listening to the Muppet theme? Are you going to make me get off the helicopter?
I think that the helicopter pilot guy is just really chilling out and he's trying to show off. You
Yep.
know? He's just like, hey. Oh, cool, tarragon. We can make a roast now.
And some golden crescent.
I thought those are the guys who made the opium.
What time are we at? Oh,
We are
time.
at 2 hours and 13 minutes and 39 seconds.
I just don't want to run up on cooking on the ring.
Oh, we won't. We gotta leave people some room to go do their shower, shit, and shave before they join Quish for yet another RimWorld shenanigan.
Yeah.
You know? And I love that, RimWorld is one of those games where if you wish people well, they start screaming because they're like, please don't. You're like, no, it's going to be a good time. Everyone's going to have a good time all together now. There's going to be no trouble. There's going to be plenty of food. There's going to be food like you wouldn't believe. Everyone's going to have like 8 or 9,
Yes, I'm getting a helicopter.
taco salads. There's going to be just no disease, no pestilence. Nothing.
No
Everything's going to be fine.
invasions, everything's gold.
No, you'll hear something in the back room, and it won't be bugs digging in. It won't be that at all. It'll be instead something easier and simpler.
Yep. Almost killed my dog.
Well, you almost killed the frame rate, but that's every time you try to drive too fast because it has to blur the wheels extra hard.
Yeah. That's crunchy. Awesome. Fucking coilover shocks? Do you know... well... So the M151 actually had a travel arm suspension system. And the reason why it had so many rollovers was because in a high-speed turn, the wheel with the least amount of weight on it would tuck underneath because it could travel too far.
Yeah,
And
I heard
suddenly you're
that.
driving a 3-wheeled truck at 90 miles an hour in the middle of a turn.
3? Oh, wow. That sounds fun. 3-wheel
They
turn.
limited
I
that,
like that.
by putting in a hard stop on the M151A2 model, but by then it already had its
Reputation.
Reputation, yeah. When we were doing driver training for the M151, we had one with the full ROPS kit, the rollover protection kit. Yes, this is Uncle Jimbo's gun pack. Yes, the helicopter plays the Muppet Show theme, especially when it does gun runs.
It helps. It keeps war festive.
Um,
Arrived at Mother Base.
so yeah, no, we had a full a truck that had been in many collisions before we got it, and we put the full rollover protection kit in it, so it had the full cage. And we put a couple of tractor weights at the top, and then a 5-point racing harness and seat in it. And when we would say, okay, you're going to get checked out on the M151, you need to roll this truck by driving it at 10 miles an hour in increasingly smaller circles until you roll it over. So you know what the body of the truck feels like when it's about to go. Because the dangerous thing with the M151 is there's no body lean on it until you're on the edge, can't stop, you're already going over.
Please select
That sounds really unpleasant.
Yeah, you're doing 50 cross country and it feels like you're in a Lincoln. It is really kind of crazy how smooth the ride is in that vehicle. And you wouldn't feel it at all. The Crown Vic, yeah, I've done sketchy things in a Crown Vic, but you feel body lean in a Crown Vic at 15 miles an hour.
Well, I had a Crown Vic for a while, and
Yeah.
it's like driving a water mattress around.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
yeah, it has a lot of roll, it has a lot of weight, but if you know what you're doing, you can get around just fine. And it makes a satisfying sound when you put your
People-
foot to the floor.
You know, we would do our driver training for the sheriff's office, and there were 6 Dodge Chargers and 2 Crown Victorias when I went through the State Unified Academy. Everybody wanted to drive the Chargers. Oh, you know, we've got a minimum time to hit. The Charger's fast. It accelerates fast. I want the Charger. I'd already been driving Crown Vics for a year and a half for the county as a part-time certified deputy. So I knew the Crown Vic inside and out. I knew it was a precision platform when you get somebody that's used to driving it. I said, put me in the Crown Vic. I know it better. I was top time in the Crown Vic. No, I don't want the giant gun. I want the drop. Let me get down. Thank you. Because I was more confident in the system and I knew its quirks, and I was able to leverage that knowledge and then its strengths and weaknesses, whereas people who didn't have that experience were not able to. Yeah, weird little quirk there. Yeah.
You know, I think that when it comes down to the Crown Vic, there's people who are just afraid of having fun. That's it. And a Crown Vic is probably one of the best ways to have fun, with not a lot of horsepower, but something that sounds and feels like a lot of horsepower.
Yeah. Yeah, the Crown Vic feels like it's a lot beefier of a vehicle than it actually is. Because it's a big, stupid V8 on a heavy, mom and pop.
updated.
No, I don't want to trade guns. I want to dump this man. Please stop. You hurt. There we go. Yeah, it's heavy as shit. That engine in the little Fox body Mustangs was shit hot because it's in a Mustang. Even the Fox body was just stupid light. In the Crown Vic, it's like having a small block V8 in a Buick.
Now, you can do a lot with those little V8s, though. I know you can tune a bit more power out of them. Not
Oh, absolutely.
infinite. I mean, it's not like a 351 Windsor or something. But they're reasonable enough. They're reasonable enough, and they're fairly reliable, to say the least.
You know what is probably the most stupid power that I've had in an absolute grandma car that I've driven was a Buick Roadmaster.
Roadmaster's no joke. I mean, and
94
there was some.
Roadmaster. Handled like a 9C1 Caprice.
I like those 9C1 Caprices. 350, and yeah, that's all you need. I mean, 350 that's a lot of power potentially.
I drove a couple that had been retired. They were gone long before I was a cop, but I would have had a lot of fun with a 9C1 patrol unit. Stupid fast in a straight line. As fast easily as the Chargers are, but without any of the cornering that the Chargers give you.
You have arrived at your destination.
It's got a cop motor, it's cop tires, cop suspension, and it's made before catalytic converters, so it'll run on regular gas.
Yep.
Crown Vics are fun. They typically are run into the ground though, and any that survive today are pretty beat to shit.
Yep.
It's half their character though, so you know.
They stopped making them in 2011. You had a couple of very large departments like New York and California that hoarded them because they wanted to wait to see what would happen with the market before they went to choose something else. So you can sometimes find them with a little bit lower miles if they were one of the hoarded ones, but really, I mean, you're looking at pretty long in the tooth vehicles by now. That said, parts for them are crazy easy to come by. It is easy to rebuild one to be a nice vehicle if you want.
Yeah, you can get
pretty
get a
cheap.
lot out of them.
There's shit tons of them.
With them, in many different ways.
I've seen some people doing some stupid things to Crown Vics. Slamming them and all sorts of fun stuff.
I saw a guy turn a Crown Vic into an El Camino, more or less. I thought that was really cool. It was just looked like something alien that had been made, like a Ute, you know.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of people that turned him into like Road Warrior, Mad Max crap. And I say crap not derogatorily here, but just out of a lack of a more descriptive word right now. Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun to be had with a big V8 motor and a very cheap vehicle. Low cost initial to get into that. Let's see. Here I steal all these people, not because I really care about them, but because I don't want them to wake up and execute anybody.
Oh man, it is a fun time. I'm just sitting here watching you pick people off with a pistol, and you have laser accuracy with
Yeah.
a pistol firing what? Like syringes at somebody?
Yeah, syringes subsonically from like
Right. But a high-powered rifle that is spitting lead at thousands of feet per second is like throwing corn into the wind.
Yeah.
Just whipping it out there. Got it. I mean, that's insane, but got it.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
What about it?
No, I'm just trying to figure it all out. I mean, I
Do you not
understand, but holy
appreciate the
shit.
genius?
I do not. I do not appreciate the genius of this madness. I don't. Bolt Action Sidecorn, that's my new band name.
Bolt
That
action
sounds like
side corn.
We're Bolt Action Sidecorn, and this song's called Camptown Races.
You know, if I ever started a Mumford and Son style band with like a mandolin as the primary instrument, mine, I know that's very specific, but my name for it would be the original name for the coyote back in, the prairie days, which is the North American prairie wolf. Tell me that doesn't sound like just some weird folksy fucking band name.
Ah, the North American Prairie Wolf singing the Timber Doodle song, and it's like an 8-minute banjo anthem for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate, a good mandolin, but it's got to be used right.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's one of those things of I can appreciate a mandolin. Goat plays mandolin very well, but I really don't like the idea of playing. I mean, it can be definitely overused. I know several like bluegrass albums where they're like everything's mandolins, and I'm like, you need other instruments. There are other stringed instruments. I've seen them.
No, they exist. Or their Hawaiian guitar.
We got Bolt Action Sidecorn. And now for our latest hit, the song the sheriff keeps trying to submit as evidence. I fed a wolf skull to a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, that sounds like us. We're going on a recruitment drive.
Here are your tranquilizer darts, LinkedIn link binoculars, and then unreasonable balloon-based rush interview schedulers.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Got the dog. Good dog. Don't shoot at my dog. Alright. You done earned it. It's time for a spanking.
Blast him. Blast him.
Outpost captured.
And you see what happens? Now you get rocketed into the sky while you bleed to death. I can't guarantee your safety no more. Look, that's why you don't trust a 6B2, kids. Will not stop 5.56. It's a shrapnel only vest.
Most armor is notional and only proof against things that strike it.
Wow, that
And
guy absorbed a
perfectly.
lot of 5.56.
Well, it's Snake brand 5.56. Who knows who's reloading this? I don't think this is from Salt Lake, you know?
Yeah. No Lake City Arsenal head stamps on this stuff.
No, this is like he just went to Walmart and filled his cart. He's like, some of these might be deer rounds.
Was Sam Walton selling 5.56 by then?
Well, 223, probably. It'd be 223 Remington, which, depending on chambering of military armaments, that could present some reliability issues, maybe a little bit, but not too terribly much.
After we go off stream, remind me. I've got something to tell you.
Oh, head stamps? No problem.
No, about bullet weights and twists and poor decisions.
Ah! Keyholing.
Yeah, well, we're not quite there yet, but I think that may be the ultimate outcome.
I've seen some fun times with various ballistic math trying to produce a variety of things, but one of my favorites is when people are trying to make the short, projectiles and the short rifles work together, and sometimes people take too much, little too much, and yeah, you get what you can.
Yeah, 5.56 will safely fire 2 through 3.
Oh, I know.
And
I
almost
know.
all 223 chambers are able to safely
Almost
fire, but
almost
not all.
all. That second one, almost all.
Yep.
That's what I'm getting at. Is you start getting into some really interesting play with stuff, but yeah,
And then
almost.
for the I can't decide people, there's 223 wild,
Yeah, yeah.
which is exactly halfway between.
Which is great. You can have both.
Yeah.
You know, you can have both because sure.
I think that's how that works.
We're just gonna drive across Dune, I guess.
What's the European Wildcat around that they chamber all the ARs in because they can't have military calibers? Is that 222 Remington, the base?
It's been a while since I've looked over at their derpification to get around things because you end up with the cartridges like 9x21, and it's like we put a slightly bigger bullet in it, and you're like, why?
I have to go still do the mission. Forgot.
Sardukar Snake.
Starter car snake.
You imagine if you had to fight the Fremen. You just go out. It'd be fun if you left a mission, went out on the sand, drove in a direction, and just kept going. And as you're going out there in that direction, all of a sudden you look back and there's no mountains anymore. And then it just says the Great Erg, and you're like, what? And then you have to fight sandworms, and Fremen are riding them. Like, you see a BMP get taken by a sandworm, and then you have to, like, get on the sandworm, and it's like a whole quick action event, and then you have to fight the fire whale from the sandworm. But in the process, you get some of the spice melange. And so you start to, like, see other games, and then you get to go play Metal Gear Solid 3 all the way through until the very end. And at the very end, you're back on the worm.
And then there is, at the credits roll, a monologue by Kojima himself done as beat poetry about Oedipus system and the way it relates to the first Doom book.
I was thinking more about him just singing Rocket Man while slowly smoking a cigarette.
See, that's way too cool for me.
I know.
Just drive around any and all who oppose me because I don't care about them.
You're like, my wheels are very blurry.
I'm a man of blurred wheels and off-brand jerry cans. That's what I do.
You know, that actually worked in Star Wars. That's how they got the speeders to look the way they did. Was they used Vaseline on the bottom of the screen, you know?
Yeah, and mirrors, right?
Yeah, all sorts of fun little tricks to make things look not shit. But I mean, it works, especially for old film.
Let's see. We need a supply drop because we are very much doing the sequel right now. I guess I'll just pet the dog while I
We're
wait.
doing a sequel, just one step at a time. But yeah, cheapo film tricks are always fascinating. Practical
they're
effects
wonderful.
work.
Supply drop complete.
Because you sit there and you look at it and you go, how did they do that? And then you talk to the people that did it or see an interview and you're like, man, that is clever and it shows a mastery. I'm going to have to fight these people to get to my drop.
Don't worry about it. I love that they're just sitting there walking toward it like, what is that box? And then rock it, you know? you gave them something else to think about. It's that little bit of zim-zam. Misdirection.
Anyway, yeah, just mastery of their craft and deep understanding of the medium to be able to tweak things in such a way that they get the effect they're looking for in an analog manner like that.
Analysis complete.
I got to be rambly there at the end, but I think you understood what I was trying to get at.
I do. I get what you're saying. Practical effects also hold up well. They
do?
hold up a lot better over time. A great example of practical effects triumph is the movie The Thing.
Yeah, and
It
a
looks
great example
really
of a
decent.
digital effect failure is The Thing 2011.
I would say a better example of digital effect failure for something that was a digitally driven film is The Matrix, the second and third one. The first one has a lot of practical camera effects. A lot of it is just really amazing camera work, especially green screens and everything else. Just it's practical camera work. Then you get to the second and third one, and it's like, you know what? We need a guy to fight 800 people.
Yeah, who all look like Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, we need to have a bunch of rubber faces all run around. And you're like, no.
Although I have seen one of those Hugo Weaving masks that they used for that scene. It is eerie, the likeness. With the
I'm
sunglasses
sure.
on, it looks like a person standing there. Even
I'm sure.
under close inspection.
I'm sure, but it's one of those things where when they CGI'd 100 of them, it looks like a PS2 cutscene.
No, 100%. The practical effects in those scenes still held up. It was all the digital effects that failed around it.
Yeah.
Because in Hutchinson, Kansas, there's two museums. One of them is the Cosmosphere, which is a fantastic air and space museum. If you ever are driving across Kansas, need a break about halfway through. And the other is a salt mine that was considered as one of the places to store nuclear waste. They decided against it because they found a more secure location. But instead, it's been used to keep film artifacts from, having UV exposure and a bunch of other stuff. So they had original suits from the Matrix. They had that mask on one of the Hugo Weaving suits. They've got the Mr. Freeze suit that Arnie wore in Batman Forever.
Mr. Freeze from
Yes.
Batman Forever? The last Batman they ever made? The Forever one?
Yes. Which is actually a really cool little prop in person. I didn't realize how much detail there was because his portrayal was so over-the-top hammy, you kind of ignore the costume.
You should chill out.
Yeah, and wonderful performance for him.
Wonderful performance for Arnold Schwarzenegger. And yeah.
I like the dude. He gets up to a lot of fun stuff, but yeah.
In that movie Last Action Hero, there's one of him doing Shakespeare. In that film Last Action Hero, it's a fake trailer, but it's fantastic. I love how that guy just walked past you like whatever.
He walked past me. I shot him in the back with a dart. He did not respond. They're calling in the radio and being like, somebody's just stolen every person on this base by balloon.
No
Eventually,
shots were fired.
They will start shooting at the balloons to try and rescue their people, eventually.
That'll be great.
When they see enough of them, they learn the trick.
The balloon of mandatory friendship.
Yeah. Alright, yep, gotta do it by chopper.
Got to do it by chopper because the smonk and the haze and the fallout blew in, I guess. Blow out soon, fellow stalker.
How do I get this guy out? I've got to take him out through the front, don't I? Yeah, I can't climb up. I can't go in any of my little sneaky holes. I pick this lock.
So Poopy Dupalis
We're
says, I totally cast Arnold Schwarzenegger as Doctor Strange from the Batman series. Sir, I would cast Arnold Schwarzenegger as Doctor Strange from Marvel. I'm
Yeah.
going to do magic. I'm going to defend the earth from wizards. I'm a doctor. Why don't you believe? Oh, wow. He's dead. No, he's all right.
No,
Just
he's
a little
all right.
wet.
We're
Still
both-
good. He's
we're
still
both
good.
fine.
He's still good. Yeah.
Where's my extraction? There's my truck. That's good enough. Yeah, you shut the fuck up. I don't care what you're saying. Okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Severus Snape in the Harry Potter films.
I've not seen more than the first one.
Doesn't matter. You understand the role.
I'm the
from
dark arts
cultural-
professor. Yeah. Yeah.
You've got enough
I can see him.
cultural osmosis.
Okay. He's like, you point that wand at me, I'll break it off. Just like someone starts, he's like saying, here's how do you defend yourself against magic. Some kid starts casting a spell and he just throws a rock at him.
Yeah.
I cast the spell, it's called coma. Oh man.
The Killing Curse. I've got one of those. It's called a Colt 45.
It's like Snape walks in and he's like smoking a cigar. I love how the turning radius in this is 4 miles,
Oh, yeah.
as you know.
And when my earlier story was about how tight the turning radius was, that you could actually flip it at 10 miles an hour. But, you know, it's not actually an M151, so that's fine. Doesn't
No,
matter.
it's like it's somebody's like Toyota Tundra that's been modified.
The wheelbase is way too long. Original M151 should be an 81-inch wheelbase.
It's almost like they regulate them so they could get more of them on a truck or something or on a train car. Anyways,
They had to
it's
be
not
able
that
to fit it
important.
in a H53 in a Jolly Green. They wanted to be
I would
able to fit one of them in it.
I would love to see the training film for that because you know that they had a training film where they showed someone doing it at speed.
Yes.
They're like, you too can lift off with your very own action jeep.
With only a company of men in support.
Don't worry about it. Action jeep.
Is that dog taking a shit?
Don't worry about it. Dog make boom boom.
You, if you pet the horse enough, you can train it to take a shit on command.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, and you can use that as a means to distract enemy guards. I don't know if you can do it with the dog. He shoots Draco Malfoy outside. Looks like you're the Mudblood now. Ugh.
God. I just don't understand. Like, people are obsessed with Harry Potter. Like, when those books came up, everyone I knew was talking about them, and I was like, okay, so
Crack
wizard
that
school
tank
stuff.
is the bazooka one, right?
Oh, crack that tank.
Yeah.
I also love the bazooka training films. Of like, the enemy pillbox is no match for the bazooka, and they just blowing up, and I'm like, those videos make you wonder why they didn't just give everyone a bazooka. They're like,
Yeah.
never low flying aircraft is no match for the bazooka.
Infantry in the open. Yeah. No, 100%.
You could stop the Kaiser's tank with a bazooka. You could stop the Bismarck with a bazooka. Enemy hiding on the other side of the Eiffel Tower, not any longer with the bazooka.
Yep. 4-bore, also known as the 1-gauge shotgun.
4 bores for more whores.
Books 1 and 2 were decent kids' book. It petered out after that. Yeah, probably. I read
It's
them
hard to
when I was in
write.
elementary school, but
It's hard to write stuff like that. I mean, I imagine just being like, okay, you have to write this fantastical tale. Okay, now write 40 of them. Because, you know, everyone and their mother was like, hey, that was great. Write me 12 more. Write me 12 more. Write
Yeah.
me 12 more, you know. And they ended up just beat to death.
an enemy with a bazooka is no match for the bazooka.
The bazooka! Yeah, pretty much. Oh man, the only threat to a bazooka is another bazooka. Glory to the bazooka.
Everything we were owed. Cypher's obviously up to something. This is probably
A
Yeah, I mean,
complete
it's-
encirclement can't stand against a bazooka. Oh man,
the
I
Flash
love.
instruction movie, something special. I bet.
I bet it's probably like, don't drop these. Don't take them apart. Don't strip the cables out of the back of these and put them in a law rocket. Don't ever drop it. Don't uncase the projectile unless you mean to shoot it. These things spoil like milk.
I have to imagine that there's a section in there because I heard that they did this in Vietnam.
I heard that too.
That is like the not instructions from 1941. Dan Aykroyd, the sergeant. No
Oh,
matter
yeah,
what
where
you
he's-
do, do not depress this lever to put it into rotate
Yeah.
mode.
Bazooka.
Depp's first top tier captive recruit. Yeah.
Doom Harrier. That wasn't the pilot of the earlier one because that
Nope.
thing was doomed.
Stalking wallaby, vampire iguana, brass bowl, running harrier. Okay, yeah. Vaccines are just crushed up M1 bazookas.
M1 bazookas. We'll bazooka those. We'll bazooka that illness with miniature bazookas.
I have a super bazooka round.
I had an opportunity to buy a super bazooka once, demilled and parts removed,
Yeah.
and I almost bought it just to put on the mantle, next to like a deer head. But what I was gonna do is, I was gonna go get a deer head that was fake, and then use some kit bashing to make it look like it had been burned and blasted and just ruined.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna put the bazooka next to it and then say nothing
You
and
should,
just let people. Yeah.
you should have done it to like one of the taxidermy fish.
You just people are like, what happened? Be like, oh, what do you mean? Just act like it's normal. Be like, what? No, I hunt. Just say I hunt. Just yeah. What do you mean? Why are you looking at me like that?
Depp, are you recruiting more war orphans than Big Mama? Is that what I just witnessed? Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'd just be like, what do you mean? I hunt. Just when people ask, I hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just put a flamethrower on the wall, and then you just have this blackened skull, of some animal, and you're like, oh yeah, just I hunt. I'm an ambush hunter,
Yeah.
I like to spring out and surprise them.
Oh God, I remember back in the day, everybody wanted military telephones, signal phones, because you could fish with them.
Ah, yeah, telephoning fish. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He grew up in
Solution
the
for
South.
all ills and maladies. Throw war orphans at it. Fuck yeah.
My advice in BattleBit is not very helpful. Mine is just scream at the enemy, drive vehicles through walls, and shoot bazookas at anything that remotely moves. You see a pixel move, bazooka it. You see a building move, bazooka it. Because buildings can't move. Well, they can if you bazooka them. Then they move down.
That was actually a training kit for the recoilless rifle with 50 BMG. Right? Because it was a spotting round.
Well, they also have some with inserts to have a sub-cal in there to, give you a little bit of a push when you shoot them, just as a, reminder that that's kind of, But it's one of those things. But yeah, look, rockets are indoor weapons. Otherwise, they wouldn't let me use them indoors. It says recoilless, right? Surely it is.
Recoilless means you can use it inside.
Yeah, recoilless means it's safe.
Recoilless means it's safe. That Carl Gustav, 100%.
Bazooka.
Bazooka.
I would just have the bazooka, so you'd have the guy like mashing the generator, and then and it just takes off, ricochets off something, and then explodes.
Backblast is not a danger, it is a goal.
Yeah, and if you put some confetti in the back of your bazooka and you fire it, then the people behind you are like, "Yay, he shot the bazooka." It's all festive.
Any machine is a smoke machine if you operate it wrong enough. How true that is. That's why they stopped
Oh,
letting
wow.
me work radios.
Good old times with the bazooka.
Yeah, the AT4CS will work indoors, although it's not especially pleasant.
It's almost like shooting rockets indoors regardless is somewhat an energetic proposition, you know.
Nice, Western Electric 3500. I've got a couple of TL8s. Those are the World War II ones. TL8Bs, I believe.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I've got a bunch of spools of wire as well. So, all right, we are running up against time, so we're going to have to let everybody go. It was a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, next is Quish with Cooking on the Rim. So remember, welcome to fun times in RimWorld, and let him know that all is well in this world. All is well in this world, and nothing bad will happen. Nothing bad will happen. Just smile and have a good time and tell everyone everything's okay, right?
Yep.
Surely nothing bad will happen.
Fear than the mind.
Fear is the mind killer.
We'll see you guys.
All right, later. Is everyone happy?